about you, but I like stuffed animals.
I'm an adult, okay?
They're just so much fun. What's more fun, well, maybe not quite as much fun, but what's second best to a giant stuffed animal? Itty bitty stuffed animals. So I've had this sewing mini stuffed animals craft kit for quite a while. I've actually made most of the animals in here. So I want to take it a step up. I want to use the patterns on this box to make my own custom animals. I've got just about 4 in mind. You'll see what they end up looking like. I've got some felt for them. I'll show you my materials here in a little bit.
I'll show you my materials here in a little bit.
But this is what I have so far. Hopefully this will turn out fun and cute. Let's get sewing. So first thing I'm doing here, I'm taking my little pattern pieces, which were actually meant for a hedgehog. This isn't going to be a hedgehog, but I'm just cutting out the felt with my first color. So the one that I'm currently doing is the bottom piece. Now moving on to one of the 2 side pieces. Here's the second side piece. The marker I'm using to cut these out is one of the markers that erases after it's been on the fabric for a while. And here are the 3 pieces that I have for my first little project. So now what I'm doing is I'm going in with my second color and I'm tracing it just along the top edge of my original piece. So once I get that cut out, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna cut some kind of squiggly lines in the gray fabric. And you'll see the reason for this is because this is a dwarf hamster. And dwarf hamsters typically have a gray kind of wavy pattern going up and down their backs. So here I am cutting an identical piece for the second side piece for our little hamster. Now what I'm doing is cutting out some little ears. I actually ended up cutting out a bunch of them to use as feet, and I decided I didn't want to do feet, so I only kept the ears. So next up, I'm just sewing the gray pattern to the original tan felt. I couldn't find a light gray embroidery floss, so it is a little dark, but I kind of think it adds to the character, so I just kind of went with it. Just tying a knot on the back to finish it off. And here is what our finished side piece looks like. Let's do the other one. Now what I'm doing, I've turned both of those pieces that I just sewed inside out, and I'm sewing them right sides together with the light colored embroidery floss. Now I'm turning it inside out and you're starting to see the hamster coming together. Looking back, I probably should have used the gray thread for this step, but I'm just going to say it adds more character. So now what I'm doing is sewing the little base to the side pieces. So now that I've gotten most of the way done sewing the base piece on, I am stuffing our little friend here. I'm just using some polyfill that I got at Walmart. Super easy, super simple. Then once I'm done stuffing him, I sewed him all the way back up to finish the body piece. Next step was sewing the ears on. So this is what she's looking like with her ears. Now let's get those actually sewed on. Now this actually ended up being a little trickier than I anticipated. I think it would have gone better if I'd sewn the ears on before I sewed the two side pieces together, but I wasn't sure how the placement was going to be until it was sewed together and stuffed. So I went ahead and decided to just sew them on like this, even though it was a little more hard than it would have been. Next up, let's give her a pink nose. You'll notice I actually set it up so that the knot from the pink thread, since it's kind of thick, would actually go inside of the fabric, so it doesn't actually show. And there she is with her little pink nose and her cute little ears. Next up, I'm just adding in some eyes with my marker. And here's the first eye. Not my favorite eye ever. It's a little bug-eyed, but that's okay. This is a caricature. So for my second eye, I did a slightly different approach, and here is how that went. I'm liking how this one came out a little bit more than the first one, but you'll see in the end, I think it turned out pretty cute anyways. And here she is, all the way finished, with her little ears, her little pink nose. I love how this turned out. I think she's so cute. She's not perfect, but I think that just adds to the charm. Alright, hamster number 2. That's right, we're doing another hamster. So I'm cutting out a white base this time with the same little hedgehog template. And I'm cutting the side pieces out of a black felt this time. Now honestly, I thought when I was tracing this that the fabric marker wasn't going to show up on the black felt, but I was pleasantly surprised. It actually showed up really well, but it was less the ink and more just the tip of the marker damaging the felt. Whatever works, I guess. So here's all 3 pieces, just making sure that they're properly lined up and ready to sew. So for this one, this particular little guy does not have the same pattern as our first one, so I'm making some little patterns with white felt. Now, if you hadn't already guessed, these 2 hamsters are actually hamsters of a friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine. She's had a birthday somewhat recently, and I wanted to make her 2 hamsters out of felt for her birthday. So, my friend, happy birthday. Please enjoy your little hamsters. So here are all my pieces. Now it's time to actually sew them. I also made 2 little ears. So first thing I'm doing is positioning the little designs on each side piece and sewing them on with white embroidery floss. Thankfully for these 2 colors, I actually had the proper color of embroidery floss, so I think it looks just a little bit more polished. But like I said with the first one, I kind of like seeing the stitches on these. I think it adds to the character of them a lot. The other side was a little bit tricky to figure out. I had to do a little bit of calculating to make sure I actually got them in a place where it'd be somewhat symmetrical with the first piece. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking some white embroidery floss and I'm just sewing a few little more speckles and patterns on these side pieces. Oops, I forgot to tie the knot. Now what I'm doing is the same thing as before. I put these 2 side pieces right side together and I sewed them together just like this. Now when we turn it right side out, we've got the back of our cute little hamster. Time to sew on the bottom piece. And back with the stuffing. This is honestly my favorite part because this is when you get to see that little shape that you sewed actually come together into a little animal. It's just my favorite thing ever. So here we see our little guy coming together with all his stuffing, and I put a little extra stuffing in this one to make him extra fat. And let's just sew him all the way closed. And I sewed his ears on as well, and I think having done the first one helped me do a little bit of a better job on the ears on this little guy. And here we have the ears sewn on our cute little fat guy. Now let's give him a pink nose too. And there he is with his nose as well. Next up, I'm sewing on his eyes. I didn't really try to mark his eyes since the pen probably wouldn't have shown up, but I went with the second technique that I tried on the first hamster for his eyes, and I think it turned out better overall. Let me know what you think of his little eyes, and let me know if you have a better idea of how to do this, because honestly, it was a little bit of a challenge. And here's our little guy, all complete with his little face. I really like how he turned out. Oops, lint. He's so cute, and he's got little spots. And he even has a little accidental tail. I didn't even mean to include that. Okay, so I didn't actually get a chance to film an outro for this video, but I just wanted to say that I hope you enjoy these little felt animal designs. There will be more of them coming up probably within the next few weeks. I didn't quite finish all the ones that I said I was going to, but that's okay. It was fun to spend more time on them. Let me know if you enjoyed this, and if you'd like to see me make more felt animals, or if you would like to see me make something else out of felt. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!